Hi everyone, welcome back. Update on the ear. I went for the ear test, the one I couldn't pronounce the name of. They put the electrodes on my face, and the first part of it was that I would watch a little red dot on a bar. It was like an LED light. And the bar was, I guess about 4 or 5 feet. And my eyes were just to follow it up and down, left and right, different speeds, etc. The second part of the test was the little more annoying part, which was I'm lying down on the table and air is going to be blown into my ear to create dizziness, and we watch how our brain interprets that. And cat hair, I have long-haired cats, I'm sorry. Cool air first. They do the left ear, they do it for a minute, see what the monitor the results, and then they do the right ear. And the dizziness does come. It seems to come quicker with the next one, which is warm air. It's not really that warm, but it feels a lot warmer because it's in the confine of your ear cavity. Anyway, we did it both sides. We had to do this one again with the warm because it didn't work the first time. The whole test from start to finish took about an hour and 15, but it was okay. So I went to see my physician on Thursday, I think, and he looks at the things and he says, well, it seems that your right ear is not working right. And I was tired, it was morning, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was, we know that already, it hasn't been working for 5 years. And his eyes just look up at me like, you know, like the look on the face is like, don't start. And I'm going thinking, don't treat me like I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been dealing with this for a while. Anyway. And he also said there's an issue with how my brain is interpreting the signals from that ear. Okay. He's like, let's hope it's not the worst case scenario, which is MS. Now, they tested for that back in New York for almost 5 years ago. They did all the MRIs to see if it was MS, because that's a common thing, I guess, they look for when you are having dizziness that they don't know where it's coming from. But apparently when I had called New York, there was an issue about them not sending my MRIs to Kentucky, so we had to do it again. So I had to sign the waivers and whatever. Now the doctor's office is going to do it. This is how it should have been done the first time, but I wasn't thinking. I forgot they needed authority. Whatever. So that's all done. So moving forward, I have to get another MRI, which I'll get Tuesday morning. And then I'm to start rehab for the vestibular nerve on Thursday. So we'll see where that comes from. Once this is all done, August 2nd, I go back to the doctor to see what's going on. Actually, I'm not starting the rehab, it's just an evaluation with the rehab. So that's where we're at with the ear. Really not made too much forward progress, but, you know. I don't know, the big thing is I don't know if this is just a bunch of testing for the sake of testing. I know there's something wrong there, and this is testing I've never had before, and it seems a lot more in depth, which I appreciate. But I don't know about the physician, like my feelings about him. He's just kind of, I don't know. I don't feel like he's just doing testing for the sake of a bill. But I don't know. I still don't have a good vibe of him. I have a good vibe off of the doctor that did all the testing. She's cool. I'm not so sure on the other guy, but I don't have a bad feeling about him, but we'll see where this all goes. So that's where we're at right now. So, a story. Since all this doctory stuff, let's start with a really old one when I was little. And it gave me trauma for quite a while. Actually, almost my entire life. I was about 7 or 8 years old. No, I had to be about 8 years old. It was after my mom and dad separated, and they separated when I was 7. And I had my mom had made a big bowl of Jello, And I was a little piglet like I am now. I gobbled it all up, ate more than I should have. And everything was all well and good for a little while. And then suddenly I was puking my brains out violently. So they took me to the hospital. And I got in to see that the physician I saw, she was Indian. And being the little kid that I was, I had a problem with her accent and I really couldn't understand what she was saying. So she was telling me to do things and I had no idea what she was meaning. I was like, what? Excuse me? What? What do you want me to do? Excuse me? So I'm misunderstanding everything she's saying, and at one point I literally can't understand what at all. I'm grabbing for straws on what she's asking me to do. So I'm thinking, well, if this was a regular doctor's exam, the doctor would say for me to stick out my tongue now. So I go, "Meh." She does one of these. She says something. I'm like, I must have done it wrong. I try harder to stick my tongue out as hard as I can, as long as I can make it be. She's dispatched. She's like, she mutters something under her breath and she goes walking out of the room. I'm like, oh, what just happened? I don't understand. She gets outside. I hear her talking to my mother. I can't quite hear what's going on. My mother comes in and she says to me, she's like, what are you doing in here? And I'm like, I don't understand what she's saying. I'm sorry. It's her accent. I can't quite understand what she's saying. I didn't know, so I stuck my tongue out. And my mom starts giggling. She's like, you stuck your tongue out. Well, yeah, like when Dr. Kashada tells me to, he looks in my ears and he looks in my eyes and then he tells me to stick my tongue out, so I stuck my tongue out. Even though I couldn't understand what she was saying. My mom's laughing. She's like, she thought you were being mean to her and you were just going bleh at her because you didn't like her. And I'm like, no. That's what I thought she said. Now I didn't notice the doctor was still in the doorway and she's overhearing that. She's like, oh, it is quite all right. I understand now. And everybody's happy now and she's not pissed off that I'm being rude and antisocial. And we figure out what it is and she prescribes me some liquid. I don't even remember what color it was. And I went home. I took the medicine. I was like, okay, this is good. And promptly threw it up. So whatever it was that I had, the stomachy thing, went away. I didn't take the medicine anymore because my mother thought, well, what's the point if you're just going to puke it back up again? And that was it. But I noticed after that, every time my mother tried to give me, actually she only did it one more time, when she tried to give me Jello, I would take one look at it and the thought of eating it made me want to hurl. And I loved Jello. And I honestly couldn't eat it up until last year. Because every time I'd see it, even if I had just a little bite, I'd force myself, like, I used to love this, let me see if I can eat it. I'd take one bite and my stomach would be like, we don't want this, get it out. I'm like, stop, this is just in your head, stop it. But I'd lose all the time. So finally last year I had to have a test where I couldn't eat for 24 hours and the only thing I could have was Jello. And that was my meal for 24 hours and it was like, I have to be able to, I gotta be over this trauma or I'm gonna starve to death, I'm gonna die and pass out. And that was it. I can actually eat it again. But I'm still not running towards it. So that was that one. There's no real motto to this one other than how easily you can be traumatized by being sick. And how sometimes it can take you forever, if ever, to get over that trauma. I want to thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you to the people that are sharing again. Thank you so much. And we'll be back here in a few days with the next one. Bye-bye.